Hi everyone, welcome to our YouTube channel. In this video we will discuss regarding the IG1 OBE paper that has been held in December 2021. We have three main contents for this video: December 2021 OBE question paper, the answer template for new students or learners, and the task solution for the OBE. Please note that this task solution that we have shared has achieved distinction in the OBE session. Please note that the solution that we will share are the key points have achieved distinction in the past paper. So let's discuss the scenario, the question paper first, then we will move towards the template and the solution. NEBOSH Management of Health and Safety Unit IG1. It is available for 24 hours. There is some guidance for the learners. This is an open book examination. It is not invigilated, and you are free to use any learning resources to which you have access. For example, your course notes or a website, etc. So it is an open book examination, and learners, they are allowed to use any sort of information or source of information. They can use their course notes or any websites. By submitting this completed assessment for making, you are declaring it is entirely your own work, knowingly claiming work to be your own when it is someone else's work in malpractice, which carries severe penalties. This means that you must not collaborate with or copy work from others. Neither should you cut and paste blocks of text from the internet or other sources. So here, once you are submitting the answer sheet, you are declaring that this is your own work. You didn't utilize any unfair means to solve the solution. Otherwise, it will lead to malpractice and can cause severe penalties. You are allowed to find details from the internet, but not to cut and paste from the internet or any other source. As NEBOSH use Turnitin software in order to detect any plagiarism or any copy paste and any similarities in other learners' answer sheet. The examination begins with a realistic scenario to set the scene. You will then need to complete a series of tasks based on this scenario. Each task will consist of one or more questions. So the examination begins with a realistic scenario, and then we have series of tasks that consist of either one part or multiple parts. So we need to solve those tasks. Your responses to most of these tasks should wholly or partly draw on relevant information from the scenario. The task will clearly state the extent to which this is required. So for each task, either you have to get information from the scenario, or you can get information from the scenario as well as external sources of information. External source of information here means apart from the scenario. You can use source of information and get the details from there. The marks available are shown in brackets to the right of each question or part of each question. This will help guide you to the amount of information required in your response. In general, 1 mark is given for each correct technical point that is clearly demonstrated. Avoid writing too little, as this will make it difficult for the examiner to award marks. Single word answers or lists are unlikely to gain marks, as this would not normally be enough to show understanding or a connection with the scenario. So the marks for each task is clearly mentioned in front of the task, and it will guide you to the required informations that need to be mentioned or detailed or explained for the task. For each technical information there is 1 mark. Information should not be listed. It should be properly demonstrated so that the examiner can understand the view of the learner. So for each mark there is a need of 1 technical information. You are not expected to write more than 3000 words in total. Students can maintain their words limits 3000 plus minus 10%. Try to distribute your time and word count proportionately across all tasks. It is recommended that you use the answer template. Please attempt all tasks. Now we will move towards the scenario. Following a serious and well-publicized accident, you have been newly recruited as a health and safety advisor at a bakery organization. So recently there have been an accident in the organization, in a bakery organization, and you are recruited as a health and safety advisor in the organization. The organization employs directors, shift managers, maintenance engineers, and bakery workers. So this is the organization chart. The organization produces bread on a large scale using automated machinery. Ingredients are mixed together to make a dough. The dough is placed on baking tins on a conveyor which travels through an oven, baking the dough into bread. There are 3 large bread ovens at the bakery, as well as other machinery used to prepare the dough. This is all housed in a large warehouse. In this paragraph, we are getting details for the bakery organization, how they are working, how many number of ovens are available. Next, the bread making ovens are long metal encased tunnels with a conveyor running through them. The conveyor is made up of horizontal racking bolted through metal plates at either end of the conveyor chain. The conveyor is approximately 20 meters long and 3.3 meters wide, approximately 66 into 11 feet. Taking up virtually the whole of the width of the oven, the bread dough is placed in tins that enter on one end of the conveyor, travel along the length of the oven and exit at the opposite end. Traveling at its fastest speed, the tins take 17 minutes to pass through the oven. So we are generally discussing regarding the bakery organization, the number of ovens, the length and width of the oven, and the time that is required for the bread to be prepared. So in these 2 paragraphs, we didn't get any information regarding the health and safety. We just have information regarding the bakery organization. The directors do not believe that health and safety is a full-time job. So it means there is no health and safety management commitment in the organization. This is the first point that we are getting from the scenario for health and safety. It means the management commitment or leadership doesn't exist. But they hope that you will improve the bakery's health and safety performance, learn lessons from the most serious accident, and most importantly, improve the reputation of the organization. So they have expectation from you as a health and safety advisor to improve the performance and to learn lessons from the serious accident recently happened and improve the reputation of the organization. They have told you that there is no budget for health and safety, but if something is needed, you should present an argument for how it will improve profit. So there is no arrangements for budget regarding health and safety, but if something is required, you have to argue for it, how it can improve the profit. So the second point, there is no arrangements for budget regarding health and safety. You ask who the health and safety representatives are within the organization and are told there are none with whom to raise specific safety issues. Third indicator for health and safety culture, the absence of safety representative in the workplace to whom they can raise the health and safety issues. However, if a machine needs to be fixed, you should contact the maintenance engineer regarding the maintenance. A maintenance engineer is available if there is an issue in a machine. They are available to fix it. So we are getting a little information regarding health and safety from this paragraph. You also ask if any health and safety training is provided to staff and are advised that as far as training is concerned, there is an induction for new starters within 6 weeks of joining the organization. So you just asked for the training regarding health and safety, and you are told that for new starters there is induction training, but it's with a delay of 6 weeks from the joining date. New starters are then shown how to carry out their role by someone else in the relevant department. You are told that quite a lot of people have received first aid training, but it was a long time ago and many of those trained have since left the organization. You are informed that there was many first aiders available and they were trained, but they left the organization a long time ago. Other than that, there is not much in the way of training because the directors feel it is a wasting working time. So apart from these two trainings, the induction training, and they had a first aid training earlier, but now there is no such trainings as the directors feels it's a wasting of working time. Finally, you ask where the health and safety documentation is kept, but they say that they do not know and suggest you ask the shift manager on duty. So we had discussed regarding the bakery organization for health and safety, regarding the arrangements available in the bakery organization. The duty shift manager is sitting at their desk surrounded by paperwork looking stressed. So there is a stress situation available. The team members, they are under stress because of the burden of the work. You introduce yourself and ask where the health and safety documentation is kept. The shift manager pulls out a folder from a cupboard in the corner of the room and says that risk assessments are in it. You find several completed risk assessments for the ovens and other machinery, but they are very out of date. You ask to see the accident and near miss records, but the shift manager advises that accidents do not happen often, so there is no need to keep a manual record. However, you have heard from other workers that accidents and near misses frequently occur, but that they are not formally reported. In this paragraph, we just come to know that the shift manager, he is under stress, and you introduce yourself. He gives you a folder for risk assessment. The risk assessments for the oven and other machineries, but they are out of date. They are completed for a long time ago. Then you ask for the accident near miss records, and the shift manager informed that accidents do not happen often and there is no record for it. But you heard from other workers that accidents and near misses occurs frequently, but there is no formal procedure to report it. So we are seeing some negative indicators for health and safety culture. The risk assessments, they are out of date. Accidents and near misses are not recorded, and there is no reporting procedure for accidents or near misses. You ask where the inspection and maintenance documentation for the bakery machinery is kept and are directed to the maintenance engineer. The maintenance engineer explains that they do not keep a record of inspections and maintenance other than in their work diary, and that they can see when a machine was last used from that diary. They have been doing the job for over 15 years, and just now which machine have had work done to them. When they are working on a machine, they check certain parts at the same time. They also remark that as machines are quite old, they frequently need parts replacing. So you just ask regarding the inspection and maintenance documentation from the shift manager, and he told you to check with the maintenance engineer. The maintenance engineer said that there is no record for inspection or maintenance. It's another indicator, negative indicator of health and safety culture. No inspection and maintenance record, and there is only a diary available from where they can see when a machine was last time used. He also mentioned that the machines are quite old and their parts frequently needs replacing. The workers have been promised new machines a few times, but these promises have not been kept. So as we have read, the machines, they are old, and the management have promised the workers that they will replace it, but no action been taken for the same. Now we will discuss the recent accident. As part of your remit to learn lessons from the recent serious accident, you decide to investigate what happened. Your inquiries revealed that the accident occurred when the bakery was under pressure to get an urgent order completed. You find out that the directors often allow workers to cut corners when it comes to safety measures to enable them to get the job done as quickly as possible and without costly delays. Workers are often individually blamed if target timelines are not reached. So now you are trying to learn lessons from the recent accident or to investigate the serious accident. You come to know that the time of accidents, the organization or the bakery, it was under pressure for some urgent orders to be completed, and you come to know that the directors, they allow workers to cut corners and do not concern for safety measures when it comes to production. So the director just have concerns regarding the productivity, and he allows the workers to take corners in order to fulfill the demand of the market or to produce productivity. So if the workers, they are not fulfilling their targets, they are normally blamed. Next, this is how the accident happened. On a night shift, the conveyor racking collapsed into one of the ovens, stopping it from moving. The maintenance engineer, usually assigned to fix breakdowns, only worked day shift. Waiting for this engineer to come back on shift would have caused significant downtime and would have prevented the order from being completed on time. Feeling under pressure, the shift manager on duty discussed the issues with the team to try to get the oven back up and running. On the night shift, the conveyor racking collapsed and it stopped the oven from working. As the maintenance engineer, he is available during daytime. There was no maintenance engineer for the night shift. They have to wait for tomorrow to fix it, but it would lead to a delay in the order's delivery or the order's completion. So they feel under pressure, and the shift manager, he discussed the issue with the team to find the solution and to start the oven bake. It was decided that a newly promoted maintenance engineer and another young worker were assigned to enter the bread oven to retrieve the fallen racking themselves. No one on the night shift had ever been present with an oven had needed entering before. So the shift manager, he just discussed with the team, and they decided that the maintenance engineer and the young worker, they will move inside the oven and they will fix the racking. And there was no one in the night shift to take the responsibility to fix it in a proper way. The correct way to enter the oven for maintenance work would have been to remove the side panels. However, this would have taken a long time, as specialist tools they were unfamiliar with would have to be found and used. So the proper way is to remove the side panels and to fix the racking, but it needs the use of specialist tools, and there was no one familiar with those tools. The oven had only been switched off for 2 hours, but it was assumed that it was cool enough to enter. The temperature gauges were not checked before entering. The two workers decided to enter via the route the bread would take on the moving conveyor. They managed to get on the conveyor through a small unguarded gap. So they just switch off the oven for 2 hours and they assumed that it will be cool enough to enter. They didn't check the temperature gauges and they entered through an unguarded gap. Once the worker had entered the oven, they soon realized it was too hot. They were unable to get the attention of their colleagues outside of the oven, but eventually managed to alert them by shouting for help. Their colleagues tried to get them out of the oven, but they didn't know how to do this or locate how far they were inside the oven. Everyone was frantically trying to help, but there seemed to be no one in charge to take control of the situation. As a result of this, there was a delay in getting them out. There was no way to reverse the conveyor belt, so the workers had to forcibly pull up barriers and side panels to help them escape. So these two workers, they entered the oven and they realized that it's hot. They tried to get the attention of their colleagues but didn't. and they shout for help. Their colleagues tried their best to retrieve them, but they don't know how we can retrieve them and where their position is. It took more time, and later on they removed the barriers and the side panels to escape. Both workers who entered the oven suffered serious burns. Workers at the scene were not first aid trained but did their best to help their colleagues. So the workers, they just come out of the oven, but they have serious burns. There was no first aider available in the bakery organization. Unfortunately, both workers died from their injuries at the scene. The workers who helped get them out were traumatized by what they had witnessed and had to take extended periods off work to recover. So both of the workers, they died at the scene, and other workers who witnessed this accident, they were traumatized and they took off to recover. There were also some workers who felt they could no longer work at the bakery and resigned. Some of the workers, they didn't feel comfortable there as they saw the situation of their colleagues, how the accident happened to them, and later on they resigned and left the organization. So there is a staff turnover. Following the accident, the bakery was closed for 2 weeks while an investigation took place. Now we will discuss in this paragraph regarding the consequences of an accident. Following the accident, the bakery was closed for 2 weeks in order to carry out the investigation. The associated downtime caused many missed production deadlines and loss of contracts. Because of this 2 weeks closure, they lost the production deadlines and they lost the contracts. The organization, the directors and duty shift manager were all prosecuted for breaches of health and safety legislation. They pleaded guilty to all the counts against them. The organization was fined £350,000 and ordered to pay costs of £250,000. Since the accident, the bakery has lost bread orders due to clients not wanted to be associated with them. So which is discussed regarding the accident consequences. The bakery was closed for 2 weeks and they didn't fulfill the production deadlines and hence lost the contracts. The managers, directors, they were prosecuted and the organization was fined £350,000 and they also lost the clients. Next we will move towards the task section. Task 1, we have the obligations of employers to workers. What employer obligations to workers are likely to have been contravened leading to accident in this scenario. You only need to consider those obligations placed upon employers under Recommendation 10 of International Labour Organization R164, Occupational Safety and Health Recommendation 1981. Note, you should support your answer where applicable using relevant information from the scenario. So we have a 10 marks task. The obligation of employers towards worker as per ILO recommendation R164. We can get these details from ILO homepage R164, the obligation placed upon employers with a view to achieving the objective. So these are the obligation placed upon the employers for workers. We can mention or get details from here and we can link it with the scenario. Task 2, introducing health and safety culture. To improve health and safety performance in the organization, you know that you need to influence health and safety culture. What appear to be the negative indicators of health and safety culture at the bakery? We have a task of 15 marks. Note, you should support your answer where applicable using relevant information from the scenario. Here we have to mention the negative indicators of health and safety culture that exists in the bakery organization. It's a very simple one. We should provide 15 to 17 information regarding the health and safety culture that exists in the bakery. Task 3, financial arguments to improve health and safety based on the scenario only. What financial arguments in relation to accidents could you use to convince the directors that health and safety needs to be improved? As we have seen in the last paragraph, there were some arguments regarding the finance for the directors that they should manage health and safety Otherwise, they will face the financial loss because of the accidents that happen in the bakery. So here we are bound to the scenario only. We can get information from the scenario only. We cannot use any other source of information. We have a 10 marks task. At least we should provide 10 to 12 financial arguments. Task 4. Investigate an accident. You advise the directors that the organization should carry out some health and safety performance monitoring. Comment on the reactive lagging monitoring measures that could be put in place by the organization. Note, you should support your answer where applicable using relevant information from the scenario. So we have a 10 marks task. We have to discuss the reactive or lagging monitoring measures that could be placed in an organization to improve health and safety performance. Next, we will move towards task 5, prioritizing health and safety issues. You have decided to form a health and safety committee to help improve health and safety at the organization. Based on the scenario only, identify 10 health and safety issues that the committee should prioritize at their first meeting. We have a 10 marks task and we have to detail 10 health and safety issues that needs to be concerned in the very first meeting once the health and safety committee is arranged. So we have to discuss 10 issues regarding health and safety in the committee meeting. These information should be taken from the scenario only. We are not allowed to use any external source of information. Next, task 6, training recommendations. Based on the scenario only, what training should the bakery arrange for the different types of workers to make a repeat of the recent accident less likely? So this task is also limited to the scenario only. We have 10 marks for the task. We should provide 10 to 12 trainings that should be arranged in the bakery organization. Task 7, we have two parts. It belongs to the emergency procedures. Part A, why do emergency procedure need to be developed? We have to mention the reasons to develop an emergency procedure. 5 marks, at least 5 to 7 informations. What could have contributed to the failure of the emergency arrangements when dealing with the recent accident? Here in this task we will discuss the failure of the emergency arrangements to deal with the accident. Note, you should support your answer where applicable using relevant information from the scenario. Task 8, setting suitable health and safety targets. You proposed a health and safety target to help improve health and safety management systems performance. You formulate the target action table below. Reduce recorded accident by 50% is our target. The action advised is monitor accident statistics on a monthly basis. Train workers on accident reporting. Who is responsible is the top management. Time frame for action is 12 months. So this is a health and safety target being placed. Now comment on the suitability of the target action table in the helping to improve health and safety management system performance. So we have to discuss this target along with the actions that have been required to reduce the accident by 50%. So we have to comment on this table. We have 15 marks and for 15 marks we should write down at least 450 words. This is the end of the examination. Now we will move towards the answer template and then we will discuss one task solution. This is the answer template for learners. It's mentioned OBE, open book examination, available for 24 hours. Learner should place or mention their name here with the surname, then first name, then NEBOSH learner number and learning partner name. As advised, please save your completed answer document with your surname, your first name, your NEBOSH learner number and your learning partner's name, as we have saved this file with the surname, first name, learner number and then learner partner name. Learners who are not using this template, they are advised to note, if you decided not to use this template, you will need to include the same information in your submission, including the following. Your unit code, for example IG1, the examination date, your name, your NEBOSH learner number, your learning partner's name, page number for all pages, question numbers next to each of your responses. You do not need to copy out the questions. So this is guidance for those who are not using this answer template. We have task 1, obligation of employers to workers, then task 2, influencing health and safety culture, task 3, 4, and towards task 8. Here we have to mention the total number of words. Please note that this form already has 291 words, excluding text boxes and footers, which you can deduct from your total amount if you are using your word processor's word count function. So we have total words count here 291. Once we will solve the answer template, then we will deduct these 291 words mentioned here from the total words count and mention the detail here. The documents and sources of information that's been utilized or accessed for solving the tasks should be mentioned here. Now we will move towards the answer of one learner who has achieved distinction in the exam. Please note that this solution is being shared in order to guide the students only. We do respect NEBOSH malpractice policy, and this video is being produced for guidance of students only. Note that the task being shared here in the video, this is just the key points that needs to be explained or outlined in order to fulfill the criteria of the task. So this is only for learning purposes. All the tasks that we are providing the solution here, it is only the key points, and students or learners, they have to elaborate it in their own words. In our first task, the obligation of employers to workers, we have to take details from R164, recommendation 10. Obligation of employers to workers. The employers are responsible to arrange a safe workplace, to provide trainings and instruction to workers, supervision for the workers. They should avoid excessive physical and mental fatigue if it exists in the work. Health and safety arrangements for the workers, updated regarding knowledge and technical information, personal protective equipments, technical knowledge to carry out maintenance work, reporting platform. So these are some points that we have discussed from the ILO recommendation. Learners, they can get information in ILO recommendation 10 of R164. Next task, influencing health and safety culture. We have 15 marks for this task. What appear to be the negative indicators of health and safety culture at the bakery. Influencing health and safety culture, the negative indicators that are available in the bakery are the management commitment doesn't exist for managing health and safety. There is no budget available for dealing health and safety issues. There is no health and safety representative available. First aid trainings are not available there. There is no first aider at the scene. The risk assessment, they are out of date. There is no records for accidents or near misses. There is no reporting procedure or platform for accident or near misses. Inspection and maintenance records is not available. Machinery is old. Workers are blamed if they didn't fulfill their targets. There is a communication gap between management and workers. There is a lack of competency. There is no arrangements for training. Near misses and accidents were not investigated for the root cause. Emergency procedure was not available. So these are just the key points that we have get the detail from the scenario. So this is about the task 2. Now we will move towards task 3. In task 3, the financial arguments based on the scenario only. What financial arguments in relation to excellence could you use to convince the directors? So, we have to convince the director to manage health and safety by mentioning the financial arguments. A safe and healthy working environment protect workers from all types of hazard and risk of fatality, damage to public image and business reputation, lead to suspension of work, accident causes injuries and in turn lead the workers off. High incident rates lead to high staff turnover. The current accident leads to organization to pay indirect cost in the form of downtime. An argument that accident lead to prosecution of the organization or individual, costs associated with disciplinary actions such as fines, suspension or prosecution, cost of the court. Accident lead to delay in deliveries, insurance premium. So these are the financial arguments that you can use to advise or suggest your director for managing health and safety. Now we'll move towards task 4, investigating incidents. What are the lagging monitoring measures that can be put by the organization? Inspection reports, maintenance reports, risk assessment, complaints, absenteeism, near miss records, civil claims, record of enforcement actions, health and safety training records, statistics of accidents. So these are the reactive or lagging indicators that we can use for managing health and safety in the bakery. Task 5, prioritizing health and safety issues. We have to prioritize 10 health and safety issues for the health and safety committee in the first meeting. So what are those 10 points? Involvement of top management, policy and procedure, risk assessment, budget allocation, workers training, formal reporting system, inspection and maintenance, consultation and cooperation, emergency procedure, blame culture, first aid provision, vulnerable group. So these are the things that we can discuss in the health and safety committee first meeting. Now we will move towards task 6. In task 6, they are asking for types of training for the different types of worker in the bakery. Induction training, first aid training, job or task based trainings, emergency procedure training, refresher training, MSRA, method statement and risk assessment, training for maintenance engineer, trainings regarding machinery usage, trainings regarding safe use and storage of PPE. So even there are many other trainings that can be arranged for the workers in the bakery. Now we will move towards task 7. Why do emergency procedure need to be developed? Emergency procedure is developed because it's a legal requirement to mitigate the possible outcome, protect the community, maintain business, bring activities to normal operation, foreseeable emergency situation. Now we will move towards part B. What could have contributed to the failure of the emergency arrangements when dealing with the recent accidents? Regarding the emergency arrangements, we have to discuss 15 points. Lack of top management commitment, lack of advanced machinery, no hazardous signages, emergency drills, specific training, risk assessment, reporting procedure, near miss or not investigated, emergency, lack of maintenance, highly demands, trained first aider, unsafe access to equipment. So these are some arrangements. So these are some key points that led to the failure in the emergency arrangements for the accident. Now we will move towards task 8. Setting suitable health and safety targets. You propose a health and safety target to help improve health and safety management system performance. Now comment on the suitability of the target action table in helping to improve health and safety management system performance. When setting out health and safety targets, we should make a zero tolerance policy, monthly statistics, monitoring and accidents, recording of incidents. Workers should be trained. The health and safety advisor has assigned. Health and safety advisor must mark himself the responsibility of monitoring the incidents, health and safety personnel, only competent workers such as first aid and emergency handling, maintenance of equipment and machinery, trained first aider and emergency rescuer, permit to work, emergency mock drills and rescue plan. So we have total more than 3000 words. We have to deduct these 291 words and the total words should be mentioned here. Here in this part we will describe the details or references we have utilized to solve the task. So for task 1 we have used RRC Unit IG1 element 1.2 page 1-8 and the class notes, or we can provide a website as a reference and we can mention the class notes or any other source of information that's been utilized. So this is the way how we can solve all the tasks in the OBE paper. I hope you have understood the whole video properly. For upcoming videos regarding health and safety, please do subscribe to our YouTube channel. Thank you.